We are now in Hamilton Harbor. We are being joined by Vicky, who is a Port Authority master. Anyways, you guys are in charge of a lot of things around here. Tell us a little bit about your job. What do you do here?
So my job at the Hamilton-Oshawa Port Authority, I actually handle 4 portfolios.
Okay.
So it's port operations, the shipping traffic control, port security, emergency management, and health and safety.
Okay, so you've got a long list.
I do.
It is a very long list. Okay, now you guys handle kind of the commercial traffic that comes in and comes out. Tell us a little bit about that.
So we, as soon as the vessels go through the Burlington Lift Bridge, we are the ones that handle the ship traffic control. We're in a little bit more of a unique situation in Hamilton where we actually handle the traffic control, not the Coast Guard.
Oh, okay.
So any vessel that comes in, we want to know their last port, next port of call, what cargo they're bringing in, and which location they're heading to.
How many ships navigate the port?
On average, we see about 650 vessels a year.
A year?
A year. So that varies between domestic, lake vessels, and international.
What's the best part of your job, Vicky?
Oh, I would say it's the collaboration and fostering relationships with our various partners. You look at the marine stakeholders and also our tenants, but I really enjoyed the emergency services partners. We have a fantastic relationship with Hamilton Police Service, Hamilton Fire Department, their emergency management team, Halton Regional Police Service, and now that we've expanded into the Port of Oshawa, really dealing with Durham Regional Police Service and Oshawa Fire Service.
Okay, so you are in charge of a variety of different Port Patrol officers. Tell me a little bit about their responsibilities and what they're in charge of.
So their responsibilities are sort of divided into 2. One is the Harbor Master's Office. So they deal with the actual ship traffic control. They're identified as ship traffic control officers under the Canada Marine Act. So they handle that portion of it. The second part, the Port Patrol, is they're responsible for ensuring the safety and security of our port lands. So through patrols and responding to any type of emergency that happens on the port.
Wow, so you pretty much know exactly what's going on this entire port at all times.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, we want to talk a little bit about the vessels. Before we stop talking to you, we want to know about the vessel tracking app, because I've heard about this. This is a cool thing.
Yes, it is. So it gives the public the ability to see what comes in and out of the Hamilton Harbor. So if you go to Hamilton Port or Hamilton Ports or hopaports.ca, there is a vessel tracking for both Hamilton and Oshawa. So it will tell you what vessels are expected into the port, what's currently in the port, and what has departed.
Okay, now why would people want to know that information? Like, is it the same kind of interest that you have those apps where you're like seeing what's flying overhead?
Yes, exactly. So same thing, it's like the boat nerd type of thing.
Yes.
They want to know what's coming in and out of our harbor.
That is really cool. Well, thank you so much for taking us out here. We're in Hamilton Harbor. Of course, this connects into Lake Ontario. Live show. I mean, we've had so much fun today, and the fun continues because we are going to hang out with some bees. I know. What does HOPA have to do with bees? We'll talk more about that coming up. Welcome to Paling Transporter, one of HOPA's partners. Carolina is joining us, and Carolina, this is so cool. These trucks are something that I've never seen before, but they are really quite something. Like, to see them on the road or to see them on the highway. Tell me a little bit about Paling Transporter.
So Paling Transporter is a Hamilton-based engineering and manufacturing company, and we build heavy lift equipment for steam mill applications. So Paling's been around for close to 40 years in the iteration that it is now, and our equipment is worldwide, but a lot of our equipment is here at home in Hamilton. Our ArcelorMittal Dofasco is our next door neighbor, which is exciting and
convenient.
Very convenient. Yes, it is. And so we just joined the HOPA family a couple of years ago, actually. We upgraded our facility and we moved into this incredible building here, which has allowed us to triple our manufacturing capacity And yeah, Hope has been an amazing partner, and we're really fortunate.
Now you make these right on location. What makes these trucks a little bit different than, say, like a transporter that I would see on the highway?
So our trucks basically have the 200-ton capacity is standard.
Okay.
And compared to an on-highway truck, we can carry 10 times as many coils as a truck does. So the big steel coils that you see rolling around the highway, rolling around Hamilton, we can put a lot more on our equipment than on a regular truck. So our truck, our transporter, allows us to basically take 10 trucks off the road, which decreases the amount of emissions going into the air.
That's
so we
huge.
look at it like it's something trying to help the environment in an industry that sometimes gets painted with a bad brush in terms of environmentalism. So
now, in terms of your location, I mean, why is the port a strategic location for your business?
We're right in the heart of Hamilton's manufacturing center.
Okay.
So most of our Hamilton customers are just right here. So when it comes to servicing our equipment or them coming to get parts, we're literally just a few minutes away, which has just made us all that much more competitive in the arena.
Yeah. How long does it take to make each one of these trucks?
It takes about 14 months because we build it from, well, we have a very quick team that has been doing this for a lot of years.
Yeah.
So they start from the ground up. Essentially, we build the frames, we get the steel in, some of it from local suppliers, which is also really great. And we just, sometimes it takes a little longer to get the componentry in, like engines and drivetrains and things like that. But when it comes to building it, we can go from beginning to end in 14 months, and you just drive it out the door.
That is amazing. Well, driving one of these is probably no easy feat. It is super cool, and this is going to be such a fun morning. We have so much going on. I'm actually going to be getting out on the water coming up, so make sure you stay with us. There's lots more coming up from HOPA on Morning Live. Our live HOPA show continues, and we have made our way down to the water. We are joining Sean, who is the president and CEO of Ontario Shipyards. It's so cool. I'm getting to do so many really neat things today. I'm in a shipyard. I don't often get to come into a shipyard, so thank you so much for having us.
Well, it's a pleasure to host you today, Emily. Thank you for coming down and taking an interest in what we do here.
Well, it's a Canadian company. It's been operating for about 30 years. How long has the business been here at the Port of Hamilton?
So just over 30 years, actually. I think that Mr. Rick Heddle was one of the first tenants here in HOPA, or at least one that's still in operations today. And his partner, Blair McKeel, they're both entrepreneurs from just down the street in Winona, Ontario. Cool. So yeah, it's a very cool Canadian entrepreneurial story.
Now, it is one of the largest shipbuilding and repair companies on the Great Lakes. What makes you guys so unique?
I just think it's the diversity that we have in terms of our assets. We have the Port Weller Dry Docks, which is in St. Catharines. It's one of the largest shipyard facilities in all of Canada. We have this beautiful facility here with 3 floating dry docks, and we've got great people. In order to build ships and fix ships, you need good people, and some of the folks you see behind me here are representing that.
Well, tell me about some of the projects that you guys are working on right now. I know you've got several happening. Tell me about this vessel. I'm very strict on calling it a vessel because it's not just a boat.
Absolutely. No, that's very true. You've already got the nomenclature down. So the George Perks is a Canadian Coast Guard ship, and it's one of their larger icebreakers. So we have a vessel life extension project, which effectively means just a big renovation. So if you imagine your house and you gut your house right down to the studs, that's effectively what we've done here. We've replaced the main engines and a lot of other critical machinery on the vessel so that it can go sail up in the Arctic, and the cruise will be safe for many more years. And we're actually doing a similar project on the Canadian Coast Guard ship Terry Fox in Port Weller, and it's an order of magnitude larger. So this project—
Bigger than this?
Bigger than this.
Wow.
This was the largest project in the history of the Canadian Coast Guard repair projects, and the Terry Fox is about 4 times the size. So it's pretty remarkable.
Well, on that same note, are we seeing kind of a resurgence of shipbuilding in Ontario?
You're absolutely seeing a resurgence, both in terms of shipbuilding, but in terms of ship repair.
Okay.
So at one time, Ontario was the epicenter of shipbuilding in Canada, which people don't think about because we're not on the ocean. No. But we're connected to the ocean through the St. Lawrence Seaway. Yeah. And it's ports like HOPA and sort of the business environment that HOPA has created, which has really brought us back to the forefront. So I want to thank everyone from HOPA and just say it's a great place to do business.
Now tell me about some of the workers. I mean, it's very specialized skill that you have to work here.
Absolutely. It's not for the faint of heart.
Okay.
And we have some specialist tradesmen and women that are doing things like blasting and painting. They're working on the electrical components of the ship. We have machinists and millwrights, and we also have welders and everything in between. So it's pretty diverse.
That's incredible. Well, thank you so much for having us here. We've learned a lot. It is such a spectacular vessel to see up close and personal. Not a lot of people get to do this, so we really appreciate this.
Well, we appreciate you coming down, Emily.
All right, there's so much more coming up on Morning Live. Stay with us. Going down a different avenue for our live programming, we are at P&H Milling Group, which is one of 3 grain terminals here at HOPA Ports. I'm being joined by Bruce McIntyre, who is the president as well as COO of P&H Milling Group. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about this facility. We've gotten a little bit of a tour, and it's really quite fascinating.
We built this facility in 2017. We installed a brand new Bueller mill to manufacture hard wheat flour for our Ontario customers. And in 2019, we started on our second milling unit, which basically doubled the capacity.
Wow, yeah, it is really a sight to see. I mean, you can see it from the water, and it just looks massive. Tell us about the different types of grain that's milled here.
Predominantly Canadian Western Red Spring grain comes in here. We do also grind some Ontario wheats that our customers request for their grist. Grist is the blend of wheat you put together to make the specific quality of flour the customer is interested in buying. Okay.
In total, I'm seeing so many different machines. How much grain is actually processed here?
We can grind 500 ton per hour, per day, per milling units.
I was going to say
about 1,000 ton a day of grain.
Wow. Okay, so it's milled here. Then what happens to it?
We bring in the wheat in, we clean it, we process it, grind it into what we call a blank flour, put it in a storage bin, and then when our customers order that flour, we'll blend it to their specification, add the vitamins that they request, put it in another flour bin, which is above the tanker, and the bulk tanker will drive underneath and we'll load 40 metric ton in about 12 minutes.
Okay, so when you say customers, what type of people are we talking
Bakers,
about here?
pizzerias. We mostly do industrial bakers. But we also package at some of our locations bag flour. So anything from a 10 kilo all the way up to a metric ton, which we blow pneumatically into the bakery.
Wow.
So.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty fascinating. I don't think I could picture that if I tried, but I like the thought of it. How much have you guys benefited from being in this location? Like, why is the port such an optimal location for the mill?
The port's a great spot. It's close to our customers. Like, all the flour that's manufactured here is delivered within 100 miles. Mostly to the GTA, Kitchener, Waterloo. And it's the location is awesome because we can bring wheat in by vessel or by rail. And saves a lot of trucking costs, which really helps our sustainability initiatives.
Oh, I love that.
Everybody wants a greener planet, and by bringing in a 28,000 metric ton load of grain by vessel, saves a lot of 40-ton trucks on the road.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, well, thank you so much for having us and for giving us the tour of such a cool and facility that people don't normally get to see a lot of, so I feel really fortunate that we were able to come here today. There is so much more coming up from HOPA's live show on Morning Live. Stay with us. From boats to bees. Yes, I am the only one wearing a bee suit. I guess you guys aren't scared of the bees, right? Right. Okay. I'm not scared of the bees either, but I thought it was really good for TV. But I am in front of bees, and yes, I am at HOPA. We'll talk about that relationship in a few moments, but first, I want to talk to Luke about Humble Bee. Tell me a little bit about the business.
Thanks. Yeah, Humble Bee is a local bee farm, and we raise bees here to be strong and resilient for the future and for other farmers to use for pollination and for feeding ourselves. So it's a really important job that we're doing when we're breeding bees here at the Portlands. And we are also offering local honey to the community here.
Okay, that's amazing. Now, Larissa, tell us about the relationship, because a lot of people are like, okay, what do bees have to do with HOPA? Why are there bees here?
Yeah, we are here at Pier 15 at Sherman Inlet, which is the last remaining natural inlet on the southern shore of Hamilton Harbor, all of the rest of those lands having been filled in by industry over the years. And so this is a really neat sort of wild space within the industrial landscape. And we undertook a restoration project here not too long ago to restore the shoreline of Sherman Inlet and plant native plants here, and it's attracted all kinds of wildlife. And one of the things we did was to strike a partnership with Humblebee so that we would have pollinators here to, you know, sort of complete that biodiversity and support pollinators in our community in the North End.
And you've got all sorts of animals here now.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as soon as we completed our restoration project, we had all kinds of wildlife move in. Turtles and snakes and ducks and a beaver and coyotes and all kinds of things. It's really been wonderful to see that a natural space thrive.
Yeah, the biodiversity. And then you kind of look around your shoulder and you're like, oh, and there's a whole bunch of trucks here too. So it's interesting how the partnership is working together. Now, Luke, tell us a little bit about the sustainability and, you know, the conservation of the bees.
Yeah, I think conservation is really important. Obviously, you may have heard that bees are having a hard time, and so there really needs to be work together between conservationists and farmers, because biodiversity is important and we need food, absolutely. Yeah. So not only do we have our own honeybee breeding program, so they can be strong bees for the future, but we also support like Wildlife Preservation Canada's bumblebee breeding program, and it's all for the same efforts of having healthy bees in the future.
Amazing. I love this. Bees are kind of my favorite thing. You've got honey in your hand there, Larissa. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, one of the sweetest outcomes of this project is we get to produce, well, Luke and his team produce honey that comes from right here at the port lands and bottles it up, and then we get to sort of share it with our community and our friends.
Amazing. Okay, well, thank you both so much for joining us today. This is such an interesting partnership that I bet you and a lot of people just didn't know about, but there are bees on HOPA. You can come, you can go to Humblebee, grab some of their honey. It is delicious. It is the sweetest. There's so much more coming up on Morning Live from HOPA. We loved the bees so much, we had to come back to Humblebee because I really want to take a deep dive into what Luke does as a beekeeper and a supplier for so many beekeepers around Southern Ontario. So we came back to the store. I'm now part of the team. I'm feeling really into it. You guys supply other farmers with what they need to create a wonderful lifestyle for bees. You guys breed bees. That is so cool to me. Tell me about that.
Absolutely. So we have actually one of our queens right here. It takes a lot of time to develop a queen for a colony.
Like when you develop a queen, like how do you do that?
Okay, so...
I have so many questions.
Yeah, it's quite a process. Like, all the bees start off as eggs, they hatch into larvae, and only the select few become queens. Okay. So we kind of make the right conditions to develop queens, and the larvae that we pick for that is from a whole bunch of selections. So we do basically like experiments with the bees to see how they do under certain conditions, and therefore we get really strong and resilient bees at the end of it.
Cool.
So that will last longer, naturally ward off disease, produce good honey, and survive winter.
That's the queen, right? The one with the dot on it?
Yeah, so we put the mark on her back just so we know.
Just so you can tell the
So we can find her easily, but it also tells us how old she is. So this year is green. So
okay, so she was born this year.
She was born this year.
How long will she survive?
Queens can live up to 5 years, but certain environmental conditions is making it harder for them now. Yeah.
Oh, that's so neat. Okay, so you've got little worker bees in here to kind of keep her company?
That's right, to like groom her, keep her fed.
Groom her and keep her fed.
Sometimes these queens sometimes these queens are going to British Columbia or other provinces.
This is how they travel. This is like their little queen suitcase.
Yeah, they get on the plane, they got their boarding pass.
Yeah, they get their ID scanned. That's so cool.
Wherever beekeepers need help, you know, we're sending queens and supplies too. So
I love that. That is such a cool element of your business. Another cool element of your business is the fact that you guys have so many different types of honey, and I believe you're going to let me try some of this honey.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So
I'm excited.
Living in Southern Ontario, we actually have so many different kinds of honey that are produced here. We're really lucky to have a widespread of different kinds of honey. Okay. So we've got sumac, blueberry, basswood, buckwheat.
I want to try that one first.
Going right for the heavy stuff.
Well, I don't know if I've ever tried such dark honey before.
It's pretty special. Like, I know a lot of people have heard about Manuka and the medicinal factors of that. This is basically our local Manuka.
Okay, so I hurt my hip yesterday. Will this help heal my hip?
Don't quote me on it, but it will fix everything.
Oh my gosh, that is so good.
Right.
Yeah, that's incredible. Well, buckwheat.
Buckwheat.
Not a lot of buckwheat around.
Not a lot. It's getting harder to find. You know, there's less people growing it for grain.
Yeah.
But in Hamilton here, we have a lot of this, which is our basswood. So call this kind of the mojito honey. It's got a little bit of lime, citrus. And
yeah, I know this honey.
Bit of mint going on there.
I know this honey. Okay, we've got time for one more.
Okay.
Choose wisely.
All right, this is our newest one. We got blueberry honey from blueberry pollination.
Oh my gosh. So, is it going to taste kind of like blueberry?
Kind of like blueberries. This is from the flowers themselves. So we don't add any fruit or anything. It's just from the floral source.
Oh my gosh, that is delicious. Okay, I could be here all day eating all of this honey. Thank you so much, Luke, for sharing your story, your business. Humble Bee, come check it out. There's so much more coming on Morning Live from HOPA. Don't go anywhere. Our HOPA adventure continues, and we are now joining one of their partners, Handling Specialty, and I'm being joined by the Vice President, Mike. Tell everybody what you guys do here, because I have no idea.
Well, Handling Specialty, we're involved in the design, build, and installation of custom engineered material handling equipment.
In layman terms?
So we provide like large lifting systems, automated guided vehicles, personnel lifts, tilters, rotators, work positioners, wide variety of production duty material handling equipment.
Okay, and when I first walked in here, I was kind of taken back by the size of the facility, and somebody told me that no matter what time of the year, this place looks completely different. So it really depends on what you're working on.
Oh, absolutely. We get involved in a variety of different types of equipment for different types of industries, different types of customers.
Okay.
So what you might see on our floor here today would be tested and shipped out for installations to locations right around the world, but right in behind that is the next batch of projects.
Okay, let's get more specific. What's one of the most interesting projects you guys are working on right now?
That's a very, very difficult question to answer because we are involved in a number of different, like really, really cool projects.
Okay.
One of the projects that actually right behind us is one in which involves the design build of underwater stage systems. And Handling Specialties kind of garnered a global reputation as being the go-to company for underwater stage systems.
That's cool.
That in itself generates a lot of attention and a lot of interest.
Yeah.
But beyond that, we're involved in a number of different types of industries, including aerospace. So we're building large aero engine lifting systems and automated guided vehicles to move these types of components around through various different production and MRO operations.
Wow.
We're doing a lot of work in the rail and transportation sector, so large drop tables and various different custom maintenance equipment used to maintain rolling stock, as well as just a wide variety of different types of applications.
And everything's large.
Everything's big. We really have garnered we like to say that we build big things to help people build big things, and certainly this facility and the people that we have here really make that happen.
Okay, speaking of this facility, what is the impact being in the port? How does that help you as a company?
Well, there's a variety of things that are unique to this particular area. Obviously, infrastructure is very, very important. We have ready and quick access to the QEW 400 series highways, access to major shipping lanes, as well as this general area is well serviced by 2 Class 1 railroads. Beyond that, we also have great access to universities and local colleges, private training schools. So it affords us with a very skilled workforce and a very diversified workforce.
Yeah, that's excellent. Well, thank you so much. You've really enlightened me on what you guys do here, and just the the scenery around, you feel so little. It really puts things into perspective.
It is some pretty big things here.
All right, our adventure at HOPA, our live show continues here on Morning Live.